Today is all about numbers 53 through 56 on my list of 86 things I did and tried on my decade-long journey towards healing my gut forever. If you're ready, let's go. Number 53 is I stopped sanitizing everything. I know this one's going to be very controversial, especially for the age that we are living in today, but I promise you, I actually did stop sanitizing everything. Now, you might be asking why, because sanitizing, of course, is supposed to clean everything. And when things are clean, we are healthier. But let me just explain to you for a quick second about the germ theory. In the 1860s, Louis Pasteur and Robert Koch coined the term germ theory, which is the idea that disease is caused by bacteria or microorganisms in the body. The theory led to soap becoming a necessity and large focus on antibiotics to eradicate bacteria. The obsession with cleansing and cleaning everything began. However, shortly after that, French scientist Claude Bernard introduced the theory that microbes aren't inherently pathogenic. It depends on their environment. Instead, particular bacteria build up due to an imbalance in the ecosystem. Much later, in the 1980s, the hygiene hypothesis was introduced. This states that a lack of exposure to germs might suppress immune system. And furthermore, we need more exposure to beneficial bacteria. Okay, so you can subscribe to either theory, but personally, I chose to subscribe to the hygiene hypothesis. And let me tell you that it actually worked for me personally. Now, I understand that it might be really scary to let go of the idea that we need to sanitize everything. And I'm not saying that we don't need to sanitize. In fact, I love my hand sanitizer from Wellness Mama. I carry it everywhere, again, especially in today's current world. However, all I'm saying is that when we use sanitizers and when we are constantly using them over and over and over, and we're wiping out all the bacteria, the sanitizer doesn't know if we are wiping out good or bad bacteria. It doesn't know the difference between anything. It's like an antibiotic. All it knows is that it's doing its job and it's getting rid of everything. The problem with that is that not all bacteria is bad, and the cleaner we are, oftentimes down the line, the more problems that can erupt. And so not only did I stop over sanitizing, but I also started to choose cleaning supplies and sanitizers that didn't include things from the never list that I described in my last video, and just cleaner solutions and options overall. So again, I love Wellness Mama's hand sanitizer if you're looking for that. I get asked all the time what we use for cleaning supplies in our house. We use Branch Basics. I absolutely love it. In fact, I use Branch Basics in conjunction with essential oils to make my own hand soap. We use it for cleaning the mirrors, the dressers, the countertops, laundry, for everything. So that is number 53. I stopped over sanitizing everything. Number 54 is I addressed emotional trauma. Emotional trauma can consist of many different things, and it looks different for everyone. I talk a lot about emotional healing on my podcast. You can check out, it's one of the earliest episodes with Natalie Emka. It is fantastic. It will really help you unpack your own emotional trauma that you may have had and still have bottled up. I also recently talk about it, my own emotional trauma and what I did after my father's passing, and actually what I did during that time as well, on episode 16 of the Gutsy Girl podcast. And I think it's just really important that you understand that this was a huge part of my healing. In the podcast episode number 16, I even describe how about a week or two after my father's passing, I threw up for almost an entire day. I did not have the flu, but I was just releasing and getting rid of so much emotional trauma that I had been dealing with since my father's diagnosis. And if you have this kind of trauma, even if you're not sure if it is true emotional trauma, which it probably is if you even have to question it, but even if you just don't know, I highly urge you to explore it, to really dig deep, to understand all about that trauma, bring it up, let it come out, and address it with somebody is preferable so that you get the exact help that you need. It can make your journey and the trajectory of your journey completely different, and it can also make it a lot shorter. So that is number 54, is I addressed emotional trauma. Number 55, I switched to organic coffee. Okay, so I'm obsessed with coffee. I have an entire podcast episode all about coffee and if it irritates the gut. I talk about coffee all the time. I drink it every single day. I realize that some people cannot have it, and if that's you, I'm so sorry. Coffee is such an integral part of my life, and it's such an integral part of many people's lives. However, on my healing journey, I learned a ton about coffee. I think I ended up learning so much about it because I had a peanut butter company for a period of time, and one of our most popular flavors was the Java almond chip. It was an almond butter that had obviously coffee extract in it. And while I was doing research and finding the best coffee extract to put into this almond butter, I came across just a plethora of information about coffee. And one of the things that I remember distinctively is the fact that coffee is one of the most heavily sprayed crops. And what that means is that if you are just drinking conventional coffee every single day, you are probably consuming a ton of chemicals and other things that your coffee has been sprayed with. Not only that, but if you're drinking decaf coffee because you're trying to cut down on your caffeine consumption, the process from making it caffeinated to decaf is a chemical process. And there's also a lot of, chemicals that can be added to your coffee at that time as well. So one thing that I did and I changed is when we purchase bulk coffee to make at home, I always buy organic coffee. I love Equal Exchange. There are so many different great organic coffees out there these days, but Equal Exchange is one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites is just from Thrive Market that you can get online. I get a big bag. It's about this big of organic coffee shipped directly to me. I think it's maybe $7 or $8 for a bag. If I go out for coffee, it's not that I can always control if it's organic or not, but at the very least, I always just make sure that what I'm purchasing in our home is organic. So number 55 is I switched to organic coffee. Number 56 is Dysbiocide. Dysbiocide is a supplement I used towards the end of my journey, and I only used it towards the end of my journey because I just didn't find out about it until then. I swear by it. I swear that it is a supplement that not only got me well on the path to forever well in 2018, but it's also a supplement that I always keep on hand in case I feel even a little bit off. I will take it for several days and I will feel just fine again. Dysbiocide is really conducive for those of you who have SIBO, but there's a lot of other indications for it as well. I have an entire post and also a YouTube video all about dissecting Dysbiocide, what it is, what's in it, who uses it, who benefits from it. But I will tell you that hands down, Dysbiocide to this day is one of my favorite supplements to talk about and to share with as many people as possible. So there you have it, numbers 53 through 56, and I will see you again next time.